On this episode of Ghost Hunters International, the team travels to the land down under to investigate the famous Sydney quarantine station.
Well, a lot of people have said this is the most haunted location in all of Australia.
Most of our apparitions here seem to be interactive.
Voices from the ill and diseased afflict the team.
Did you just say hey?
Nope, absolutely not.
Did you hear that?
Dude, I could have swore I just heard no come out of that door.
And Paul gets a corpse-eye view of the morgue.
You can touch me any way you want.
Has his solo experiment touched a spirit with unfinished business?
Wow, really cold, icy cold.
We are now in Sydney, Australia. We're heading to a haunted quarantine station. And as far as space-wise, this is probably one of the biggest cases we've ever done. It sounds pretty exciting from what Brandy's been letting me in on, and now she's gonna let everyone else know.
In 1828, due to the many diseases sweeping the globe, the quarantine station was built. And it was built right on the harbor so that it could stock any ships and quarantine the crews and passengers before entering into Sydney itself. And many of them died in agony from numerous diseases.
Wow.
Now, our client's name is Kaz, and she's called us in to document what it is that not only she is experiencing, but many other people are as well.
All right, we made it. Let's get in there, find our client, and find out what's going on.
Let's do it.
Kaz,
Hi.
how are you? Rob. This is Dustin, Barry, and Paul.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you guys here. This is great. Thanks for coming. First, I'll tell you a little bit about the history. This place was first opened in 1833, but it remained an operational quarantine station until 1984. What would happen is you come in on the wharf here, you'd see a doctor, he'd separate you into healthy and sick. Sick people will go up to the hospital above us. Healthy people would be separated into first, second, and third class according to the ticket they had on the ship.
Which diseases were they looking for?
The plague, typhus, cholera, and the most horrible ones, smallpox. But the biggest take of people coming in was with Spanish influenza.
And what about the buildings used for today here?
Hotel accommodation, functions, events, conferences, and we do historical tours.
Well, a lot of people have said this is actually the most haunted location in all of Australia.
That's the sort of thing I'd like to find out what you think. What is going on here?
If you could take us around, show us exactly where the things have been happening to you.
I'd love to.
All right, we'll follow you.
Thank you. These are our famous showers. When you first came into quarantine, you'd be brought in here because they were trying to disinfect you. You might have been carrying lice. They can carry typhus, can kill you within 15 days.
The shower had water, disinfectant, and carbolic acid. A couple of days later, their entire top layer of skin would peel off. At the time, it was making sure that people were not bringing disease into a new colony.
You were always observed. There's little tiny peepholes that are in the shower where an attendant will be looking at you, watching you have your shower.
So what kind of paranormal activity has happened right here?
People many times have seen different figures, particularly down the back. One man seems to be weeping, really upset. And one looks like he might have been a quarantine station attendant because he's wearing an old uniform and a hat.
Now, when these apparitions are seen, do they ever tend to interact with the people that see them, or they just kind of go about their own business?
Most of our apparitions here seem to be interactive.
Okay.
So people here have been standing where you are, they've been shoved by a hand up against the wall.
All right, shall we head on?
Let's do it.
All right, we'll follow you.
This is the hospital area. We've had some interesting things happen in here. I was standing at the table there and heard snoring coming from this bed. I couldn't quite believe it. And one day, there was a sheet on the bed. The guide said, "Hey, come and have a look at this. Look, it's getting the imprints of a person." And sure enough, the imprint of a person started forming. And we got arms, elbows, legs, hips, and heels.
All right, shall we head on?
Certainly. And this is the hospital kitchen. The strangest thing happened in February this year. A tour guide just walked through, leading the group in. He felt a rush of cold air coming towards him from this room behind me. A tour participant just behind him saw a black figure of a man charge the tour guide, knew he was about to knock him over. The man caught the guide on the way down.
Do we have any stories regarding the kitchen staff here? Would anybody have contracted one of these diseases and died here?
There were so many people who died here. We have records of 572 burials, and I don't think they're complete.
So why do you think the spirit was so angry?
I think maybe this is his space, and he's a little bit annoyed. And I knock before entering, and I enter very, very cautiously.
Well, shall we head on?
This is the morgue. When this was built, it was one of the best morgues in the world, and that was because it had the well-equipped laboratory just next door. They'd only autopsy the first people who came in on a ship, and they didn't know why they died. What they do is slit all the way down from here to here, take out the main organs, and everything will be put through the lab right next door.
I had the opportunity to go into the morgue by myself. I was lying on the morgue slab. I actually heard someone walking around the slab. It was like shuffling footsteps. It stopped right next to my head. I then felt something touch my forehead and actually felt my hair physically move down. And then whatever it was suddenly disappeared as quick as it had come.
I don't know. This looks about Paul-sized to me. What do you think, Paul? Little night on the slab for you?
Yeah, I'll give that a go, definitely.
All right, shall we head on?
This is the third-class dining room. This is a very special sacred site to the local Indigenous people. They use this in burial ceremonies. This building has been built on top of the cemetery.
I feel that the third-class dining area is one of the most haunted places on site. Feeling like you're watched, feeling like somebody's around, and had things like footsteps that seemed to go all the way around the room.
I've experienced seeing a little boy crouching in the corner of the dining room, and he'll just sit there sobbing to himself. And a couple of times I've gone up to try and say, "Are you all right?" And when I approach the ghost, it just disappears.
This is the kitchen. I have a personal dare for you. I want someone to sit over there tonight, because when I was sitting there one night, I felt this freezing cold hand grab my ankle and tugged. When people have been standing in front of this dumbwaiter sometime, they've seen a teenage girl in a pink dress appear behind them and start putting their hands around their neck. One visitor actually was struggling to get away. She had red finger marks and bruising.
Obviously a lot to cover in this area.
Well, I think I've shown you just about everything. What do you think? Do you think you'll be able to get me some results?
I think that if ever there was a chance at it, we'll definitely get some answers. Gonna grab the rest of the team, get the equipment unpacked, and get to work, see what we can do for you. The quarantine station has a lot of connections to a lot of death, disease, hardship, all built over a cemetery. Definitely the kind of things that would create that paranormal activity.
There's several buildings laid out over a large amount of land, everything from apparitions of children to adults to dark shadow figures. So the potential of this place really seems limitless.
The DVR cameras. Let's talk about where they're shooting at.
Okay, cameras number 1 and 2 are in the main dining area. Camera number 3 is in the server area. Camera number 4 is moving down the staircase, so we'll catch anyone moving back and forward through here. Camera number 5 and camera number 6 are in the kitchen area, where the reports of people being strangled are said to occur. And camera number 6 is full spectrum.
Perfect. Let's get those lights out and get to work. Let's go find some ghosts. All right, Joe, this is the shower block. Joe and I came down to the shower block to follow up on the various reports of activity here. Full-bodied apparitions, physical attacks, and an angry gentleman walking through here. As soon as you came in here, they actually locked you in the shower. It was to make sure you got deliced. The chemicals were so caustic, you'd lose your entire layer of skin. The guards here would watch you shower to make sure that there was no way you could still have lice.
Oh.
EVP session, shower block. If there are any spirits present with us, are you upset about your treatment here in this shower room?
Were you one of the guards that did those sick things to people? Chemicals and burned your skin?
If you're here and you want to communicate about what took place with you here, could you give us a sign or speak to us now?
I think I see something down there. I think I can see something moving down the hallway. Down in that end, I thought I saw something moving.
If you go that way, I'll take the other corridor. We'll corner it. We were told that the man who appears here shoved people here. Could you demonstrate that for us?
You could come up behind me and shove me.
Speak to us.
Rob, are you moving your arms?
Huh?
Are you moving your arms up and down?
No. Why do you ask?
Because I thought I could see, like, movement.
No, absolutely not. And wait, check this.
No. During the investigation, I thought I saw someone standing there waving their arms up and down on both sides.
We know you're here. Come forward.
We're gonna be here for a while. Until you show yourself. Why are you making us chase you? You're weak, filled with guilt. And what you did to those poor people.
Joe, was that you on the door?
No.
Did you hear it?
I heard it. I thought it was you. Rob and I were investigating the shower block area, where apparently one of the reports of a former employee's apparition's been seen.
Joe, was that you on the door?
No.
Did you hear it?
I heard it. I thought it was you. When I was walking towards the back, I heard the door rattle a little bit, so I went up to it. And I opened the door, and it leads to outside. And I looked around, there was nobody around, and it wasn't windy, so what shook that door is beyond me.
Did something Joe say upset you?
It was meant to.
Joe.
Yes.
You hear the whispering?
No.
You didn't hear that?
No.
Check that.
I am getting the EBGBs. I need you to speak up. I can't hear you whispering behind our backs. Did you just say hey?
Nope, absolutely not.
Wow. I was walking up the center aisle, and to my left, I hear a hey in one of the shower stalls.
You're here, aren't you? You're ready to let us know you're here.
Be a man. Face us. Do you like hanging around this shower? I just thought something tugged on me. Well, that was strange.
Why is it that everyone else can see you and we can't? All right, Joe. I think if we got anything, we've got it by now.
Okay.
EVP session, shower block, and this place was pretty full of activity. 3 disembodied voices in one investigation. That's pretty rare.
EVP session, Dustin Barry, the hospital. Dustin and I want to set up an EVP session within the hospital. There were reports of people appearing in the beds within the second room of the hospital.
What
does that little get up you're hooking up there?
The 360 mic. The 360 mic gives us the added ability to listen to sounds coming in real time. During the EVP session, I can hear the answers to the questions that we're putting across, and then we can adapt our questions to suit those answers coming in. We were told that there was an imprint of a body lying here on this bed. Were you responsible for that imprint?
Could you give us your name? How many of you are still here today? Why is it that you haven't moved on? Can you tell us what disease you have? Do you wish that you never made the trip here?
Are you trapped here in this building? Stay still, Dustin. I think we just got something. There's a whisper come in just behind that question. Can you come forward more so that we can try and gain some information from you, some knowledge? Okay, I just heard something else there again. It's louder than what it was before. Can you rattle the door? Or even whisper your name? Ending EVP session in the hospital. The 360 mic, listening to it in real time. We were getting some responses. So I look forward to reviewing that footage and see if we can pull any more information out about that particular entity that should be staying in there.
Brittany and I investigated the third-class dining area. The reports have been a little boy seen in the far back corner. His name was Isaac Lewis, and he died at the age of 5 from scarlet fever, and his apparition has been seen.
If the little boy is here, the little boy named Isaac, can you let us know that you're here?
We're here to understand what happened to you and why you're still here.
Okay, I just heard something behind me. It sounded like footsteps. Can you let us know that you're here? Ashley and I spent time doing an EVP session in the third-class dining hall.
We're just here to hear your story.
Okay, I just heard something behind me. It sounded like footsteps. That was stairs.
Definitely. Did you hear that?
Yeah. While Ashley and I were on the staircase, we heard a loud sound that led us down into the basement area. This is where the girl in the pink dress has been seen.
Yeah.
And she's the one that chokes people. And if you sit on the bench, you'll feel cold hands tugging at your pant legs. EVP session. Ashley and Brandy in the basement kitchen area. The girl in the pink dress. Who are you?
I was told that a woman was sitting here where I'm sitting, and that you grabbed her legs. She felt you grabbed her legs. Could you do that to me?
The girl in the pink dress. Were you one of the many people that came here on ships and quarantined?
We want to know why you're so angry.
Wherever you are, wherever you're hiding, come towards me. Ash, my right hand, I feel cold. As I was calling forth this spirit or entity, I started feeling the cold, so much so that I could actually feel a difference in body temperature on my fingertips. You would feel my hands. You would feel the difference.
Yeah, they're colder. I felt both of her hands, and one hand was colder than the other.
The girl in the pink dress, is that a sign that you're here? Are you in this dumbwaiter? I hear that you like to stand in it and hide. And let us know. Do you hear that?
Yeah. I definitely hear something in there.
Put your camera on the tripod, and then you can scoot it in there.
Brandy and I were investigating in the kitchen below the third-class dining hall whenever we started to hear some strange noises coming from the dumbwaiter. Brandy had a great idea of putting the camera on a tripod and lowering it down into the shaft. It was really hard to see the screen on the camera itself, so we'll have to wait until analysis to really go over the footage and see if there was anything paranormal going on.
EVP session, Dustin and Barry, the kitchen. Dustin and I directed our attention to the kitchen for the hospital. The reports in the kitchen were said to be this dark object coming out and actually pushing one of the guides to the ground. Again, I was listening to the 360 with the live input. Sounds as if someone said, "Are you crazy?" Just as they opened that door.
When you opened that door?
Mm-hmm.
That's odd.
It was a male's voice. I'm not quite sure who he was. Certainly didn't give any indication of a name. It seemed we were getting some responses.
Are you able to come forward? Able to come through that doorway?
Why do you hide in the pantry?
Let us see you for what you really are.
What?
I didn't say anything. What'd you hear?
My mom's voice.
Barry and I were conducting an EVP session next to the pantry where there's reports of people getting pushed.
What?
I didn't say anything. What'd you hear?
My mom's voice.
What do you have to say to us?
Are you a doctor or are you a nurse?
How long did you work here for?
Right, I just heard him again. It sounded like 3 months.
You heard 3 months?
The same voice.
Is that correct? Did you work here for 3 months?
Can you come closer to us so that we may hear your voice more clearly? Your video camera, Dustin.
There you go.
Stand at the pantry door over there.
We've been told that you apparently don't like people being here. Do you just not like people being here in your space? Do you stay here by yourself now? Away from the other spirits that are here? Dude, I could have swore I just heard no come out of that door. I went and stood right by the doorway to the pantry where this dark figure has been seen and asked a couple of EVP questions. There seemed to be a whisper of a no.
Anybody in here? Must have been a coward. Come out and see us. The big black figure wasn't so bad after all. Ending EVP session. So the male voice that we were hearing did seem to respond to some of the questions that were being put to him before they began to fade toward the end. We need to go back over our audio recordings, so I look forward to reviewing that footage in analysis.
Okay, let's get ready here.
Okay.
Paul and I came to the third-class dining hall to follow up on the reports of the spirit of the young boy who's said to manifest in the far corner. EVP session. Paul and Rob, third-class dining room. We understand that there's a little boy here. Now, you've walked across this room following someone before, so feel free to walk across the room now.
We are here to meet you.
You heard that, right?
Yeah.
It's back of the room. You don't need to stay over there in the corner. Could you come forward? I'm asking you, please, if you could come forward. We can hear you coming across the room.
Yeah.
It's okay. Can you keep coming forward to us? Paul and I were searching for the possible spirit of the young boy. We asked for him to come forward. There were knocks and bangs. We asked him to come a little closer. Again, knocks and bangs even closer to us. How about if I meet you halfway? You okay with me coming towards you? If you don't want me near you, just say so. Where are you? I was a little boy too once. Wouldn't come any closer than that to say that's paranormal. We can't do that yet, but we were running a lot of audio devices, so we need to now go back and let the team go through the footage and see if there's any evidence there.
End of EVP session, Paul and Rob, third-class dining area. This is Paul doing his solo in the morgue. This is kind of creepy. This is the original slab. Okay, now the report is that someone was laying on the slab and heard footsteps. This was my first solo vigil with GHI. So I'm looking at a place where dead bodies would actually be taken, dissected, and analysed all in one room. Well, no one, the reports that someone was sitting on the slab. They felt their head being touched. Being pushed down. You can touch my head. Or touch me any way you want. Are you the doctor that's been seen in this room? I'm simply here to document your being. If anybody is in here with me, will you please make yourself known? Is there somebody else in here? And tonight I had the opportunity to do a solo investigation in the morgue. I heard the movement of feet. It was so clear that it basically sounded like someone was in the room. Is there somebody else in here? I'm hearing Is somebody else in here with me right now? Are you playing games with us? I heard shuffling going on. Basically shot around to determine that there was actually nobody there. And it sounded so clearly in the room. Continuing with the EVP vigil. Again, I ask if anybody is in here with me, why don't you come forward and show yourself? Wow. That temperature dropped very, very fast. At one point, I was asking for anybody who was present to come forward. I actually started getting some significant cold just around me, very isolated to the area. We've got a couple of other things here that you can talk into these devices. Wow, what is that? Really cold, icy cold. It's making me shiver, isn't it? It's so cold. I was actually standing right where the data logger is. So if there was any real significant change in temperature there, we should have actually caught that. And obviously that will then go back to analysis and we'll be able to actually determine whether or not that was picked up. This is Paul concluding his solo vigil in the morgue.
We had some unusual activity earlier in the shower block. So at this point, I've sent Brandy, Ashley, and Joe back to the shower block to see if they can follow up on that activity.
EVP session. Joe, Ashley, Brandy in the showers.
We decided to see if we can lure this guard out because the story was he had a thing for the females whenever they would make him come take a shower. So bringing 2 females in would be a good trigger.
I brought some females. Are you gonna come out?
How do you feel about Brandy and I being in here? 2 females. Can you show yourself to me? Do you hear that? I heard a bang towards the back.
I thought I heard something over there.
Tell us how you died. What disease did you die from? Did you die of the plague? Spanish influenza? Tuberculosis? All right, guys, wrap this up.
EVP session end. Hopefully after reviewing and analyzing all of the footage that we got tonight, we may have got something.
All right, good effort tonight. Let's get back to Command Central and get packed up. The most important thing for me tonight is not do we have the best evidence we've ever captured, but do we have the answer to Kaz's questions? That's what we were brought in for, and that's what we're trying to accomplish. Barry, you awake back there?
Barry and I, when we were checking the hospital, we stepped outside for a while, let the room settle, did a lot of photography work around the outside, go back to see if anything showed up.
Let's get back and get some rest. Good job, everyone, tonight.
Cheers. We're about to go into the analysis now of the old quarantine station here in Sydney, Australia. There was a lot of visual things that we needed to try and account for, and so hopefully we'll see if we can find any information that'll shed light on what was going on there.
Hey guys, Paul. Now this is during your solo investigation, and you're right near the slab, near that window that I think is towards the lab.
Yep, the hatch. Right.
And you were asking to come forward?
Yes.
And you can hear what sounds like footsteps to me.
Awesome.
You should be able to hear it.
You also happen to have a device here that will take a picture if you show yourself. Yeah, there seemed to be something constantly walking around in that room. Show yourself.
Yeah, you can hear movement. It's kind of faint.
Show yourself.
Yeah. It's almost impossible to lift the sound from the mini DV to any great quality.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to have to let that one go.
Okay.
Paul, I want you to have a listen to this. This was captured down in the showers. I was wearing earbuds at the time, listening directly into the 360 output.
Yes.
So that I could hear those EVPs that were coming in real time. We could respond to them. Have a listen to this.
Ah, okay. You did get it then. What's your take on what it says? Because I know what I think it says.
It sounds to me as if she's actually calling Paul.
That's what I heard.
Really?
Yeah, it does sound like my name, which is kind of creepy.
So maybe you were looking into a shower cubicle when you shouldn't have been?
Well, I was looking for the peepholes. Something interesting is that earlier on, actually, while I was in the third-class dining area with Rob, again, I thought I heard somebody call my name. So I don't know if somebody was trying to get my attention or something maybe throughout the night, but it wasn't the first time I heard it.
And that it sounds intelligent. They've never seen Paul or know his name, but yet they did.
Okay, let's see what else is there. Guys, look at this. What we have here is a photograph that was taken just outside the hospital. I think this is what we've been looking for. And look what's standing over the fence.
When you have the personal experiences that you kind of see or hear or smell, whatever, the paranormal. But for us, those cameras paid off. Most of the personal experiences wound up being documented. We documented the visual.
That's the payoff right there. That's what it's all about. Hey, Cass.
Hi. I'm good.
Good. Well, this is an amazing place to investigate.
We use every piece of equipment that we have, thermal cameras, digital voice recorders, as well as our DVR system. You gave us a plethora of stories to try to look into.
We want to talk about some personal experiences. Let's talk about the morgue. You had mentioned a young lady who had laid down on the slab and heard people approaching only to find there was no one there. Well, we want to recreate that. Paul goes down there by himself. He laid on the slab, and he hears someone walk up to the building. So it becomes a personal experience that backs up what people have experienced here.
And he also experienced a cold spot, and he said it was, very frigid and noticeable.
When I've described it to people, I say it's like someone opening a freezer door right behind you.
You had said that the third-class dining room is very active. We hear shuffling, loud banging sounds, and also at one point, one side of Brandy became very, very cold. And to help document, she asked Ashley to come over and touch my hand, and she said, sure enough, she was freezing cold.
Was that just on one hand?
Just on one side.
That's happened to me. A girl and I were talking, discussing a gravestone, and I felt a cold spot. Hadn't mentioned it to her. She came up, stood near the gravestone, and then she said, I'm really, really cold. Feed my arm. One side was all pins and needles, and it was actually blotched white, and the other side was pink and normal. I couldn't explain it, neither could she.
Right.
And the next thing we want to share with you is video that was shot in the shower block with myself and Joe.
What you do to those poor people.
Joe, was that you on the door?
No.
Could you hear the door handle going?
What you do to those poor people.
And that wasn't you?
Absolutely not. I'm actually in the middle of the next corridor over, standing perfectly still.
Play it again?
Sure.
What you do to those poor people.
Joe, was that you on the door?
No.
There's no one around. One thing that was really strange is Joe's walking by one of the blocks and hears a voice from inside the showers. We go back on the tape, you can't hear anything. But imagine our surprise when we go through the tape and during another segment of time, we did pick it up. I'll play that for you.
Is it your anger? The embarrassment?
What do you think he's saying?
It sounds like, hey.
The embarrassment?
There was some communication going back and forth, which leads us to believe what we're encountering was definitely interactive.
So what I want to play for you now is Barry and Paul in the showers.
What? What'd you say? I didn't say anything.
This particular one here, obviously a disembodied voice, as it was heard while they were investigating.
Does it sound like a woman's voice to you?
Exactly, yeah. And we know where the two female investigators were. Obviously not them.
Keep in mind that one of the investigators' name was Paul.
You think it says Paul?
I do believe so.
There's definitely signs of an intelligent haunting here.
That was the first class showers, and they'd shower the women first and then the men.
So it's quite possible that there could be a woman from there who's remained behind.
More than likely.
Yeah. When we were taken out to the employee kitchen area, I was there with Barry trying to see if we can make any kind of communication. And there was something here that was asked. I'll play it for you.
How long did you work here for?
Sounds to me like he's saying too long.
How long did you work here for?
What Barry had thought he heard at the time with headphones was something that closer to 3 months. It does sound like a male voice.
It's definitely a male voice, and sounds to me like they're saying 2 words.
How long did you work here for? How long did you work here for?
This next one, we're heading back to the shower block. Myself and Joe, and I'm asking, is it possible to communicate? And we got a response.
If it's possible, could you communicate what your name is? Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Let's talk, yeah.
If it's possible, could you communicate what your name is? Let's talk.
Did you talk?
This was an EVP. We didn't hear this at the time.
Let's talk.
Barry and I were actually here in the hospital. We did some photography outside, and something showed up. So what you're seeing here is the hospital. Everything looks pretty normal. And then take a look at the next shot. I want you to keep your eye on this area.
I can see something. Something here.
Yeah, exactly. You can see what looks like little legs here, his hands, jacket, a little bit of shirt and a collar, a little head.
I can see some more definition here, so I can see what you're talking about, hands.
Yeah. You can see a little bit of the facial features almost. You can clearly see the pants are a little darker, and then it kind of dissipates. And this is the real deal.
That's brilliant. That's why I want you guys to come.
If you look at the height of the fence and kind of where he's positioned, it looks like a little boy to me, to be honest. We know that this was used as an orphanage. It does seem like someone took a huge interest in our investigation here. At this point, you and I can probably agree on 2 things. Number 1 being that this is an amazing place to investigate for paranormal activity. And number 2, that the quarantine station is haunted.
I'm glad you said that.
You're not going crazy, and I think that, along with the voices and the experiences, prove it.
Once you get something like this, I mean, that pretty much says it all.
Okay, thanks so much for coming.
Very welcome. Shall we head out?
Yeah.
All right.
Ghost Hunters International has validated what we've been experiencing. So for visitors, employees, and ghosts, we're here, we're real. And it means for staff that we're definitely not going crazy.
Good investigation.
Absolutely, man.
Something was really trying to communicate here with us, and those are the best kind of cases.
Anytime you ask them questions and you get not only a response to it, but a correct response, something that makes sense, that really kind of cinches it up. They're aware of our presence as we are of them. The quarantine station has activity.
And GHI is doing great in Australia.
Yeah, man, this place is awesome. Australia's great.
Good to be down under. Let's get back to work.
All right, rock and roll.